Quacks is a website created and maintained by RPI students for RPI students. What Quacks allows you to do is use the different courses that you need to take to create a schedule and see all the possible scheduling options for you for any given semester. On this main page here, you'll see the different topics and the different schools by subject. However, what you're really going to want to do in using Quacks is referring to the course number for the class that you need to take. So within the templates for any given curriculum, you can see a 4-letter and 4-number course code. And this is what we're actually going to use to search Quacks. So for instance, industrial and management engineers take chemistry, either introduction to engineering analysis or physics, calculus, humanities, and other courses within here. So what we'll use is those 4-letter, 4-number codes to search. So for instance, let's put Chem 1100 for Chemistry 1. So if we click on here, we can see all of the different options that are available for Chem 1. You can either choose to toggle all sections or select all of them, or just use or select specific sections. So for instance, let's, for this, select all sections. When we click schedule, you'll be able to see the different schedules that are available to you. And with Quacks, we keep building upon this. So let's add physics, for instance. If you don't have physics experience, you want to take physics. Again, we can add some or all of these, click schedule, and you can see that a schedule begins to build for you. Next, with physics, you take a class, it's called Physics 1960 or Physics Mentoring for Freshmen. It's a very helpful class. You can see all these different options that are available to you. However, what you can also see is there is one option here that is crossed out in red. If options are crossed out in red, that means that it conflicts already with the schedule and the classes that you've put within your schedule. So for these purposes, with the classes that we have, we can't select, section 17, which is totally fine. So let's, select between, say you want to do something on a Wednesday, we'll select that. And then we'll put math in here. So same deal, maybe we'll select a couple of different sections, whatever works. Toggle all of them if you want. Let's just do this. So you can see here that there are over 100 different schedules that are generated for you. And what you're able to do is toggle through. However, 144 different schedules, that's a lot to look at. So from here, what you're actually able to do are 2 different things in order to narrow down your options. The first thing is you can check, and what you will want to double check the day of registration, class search in SIS to ensure that the class that you want is actually open. So class search within SIS is live. So while students are registering, it's updated constantly in terms of when classes are available and how many seats there are. The one thing with Quacks is the day of registration, it will not be completely live. So before you go to register for courses, you're going to want to check within SIS class search here to ensure that there are actually sections available and that the classes you want to take do have seats. You will see here, if you see an SR, that means seats remaining. That means you can register. If you were to see a C next to these different sections, that would mean that the class is closed, so you can't register for that. All these say seats registration or seats, available right now because you haven't registered yet. But the day of registration, you'll see a lot more of these C's most likely. So now that we've checked, section 1 already had seats, so we're okay there. But another way that you can kind of narrow down these schedules would also be based upon preference or need, right? So if you are an ROTC or student athlete, you are going to want to ensure you work with your leadership to make sure that you are not taking classes during, drill and during practices and things like that. So for instance, if you are in season, you're going to want to ensure that you're not doing classes past a certain time and such. So what you can do is you can actually narrow those down. So if that doesn't apply to you, you can take courses whenever you'd like. What you can do is then narrow down based upon preference. So for instance, you'll see here, I'm a morning person. So I, if possible, don't want to have tons of classes late at night. Some of these are unavoidable because they are test blocks, so don't be alarmed with that. But so for instance, let's say that I don't want a class to go from 4:45 to 6:35 p.m. on a Friday. What I could do is I can unselect. You can see it goes down to 116 generated schedules. So if we continue to narrow that down, say for instance, I really don't want anything too late, any given day if possible, say, let's see here. So I continue to narrow down and it makes less and less schedules available, which is a good thing because 96 different schedules, still a lot to choose from. So let's think what else here. Let's say we don't want this one. Let's think. Let's say that we have something going on with some of these other classes here. So we will go down to physics mentoring, for instance. Let's say I really don't want to do this one for whatever reason. It creates and narrows down different schedules. So this gets you to 36 different schedules. That is probably the max that I would ever want you to look through. But you can also see here that Tuesdays are crazy busy. You've got classes from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. and we just don't want that. So what you're able to do is look at the classes that maybe you don't want to take on that day and then narrow things down. So section 7, that kind of made things pretty tough. But when we take a look and we narrow down and take out section 7, this makes it a way more balanced schedule. So again, Quax is something that's great to use for planning and preparing for your first registration and registration beyond this too. The next thing we'll have a take a look at is CRNs, or course registration numbers. That's actually what you're going to use, these 5-digit numbers, to register for courses the day of. So with whichever schedules you want to use, you're going to want to make sure that you have the CRNs available. You can also use this course set thing here and create a couple of different scenarios and the like. But what I recommend doing is taking a screenshot or recording down the info for your desired schedules. Then the day of registration, be sure to use these course registration numbers to actually register, and you've got this really nice grid that shows you exactly what you'll be up to your first semester and beyond.